Okay, so I've got a few things to explain about this week and last week's session and what I'll be doing for probably next week or so, week or two. I've been invited by St Christopher's, who are a hospice in the Bromley area, to produce some podcasts that are based on mindful walking and walking meditation. And the reason for that is, we're not supposed to go out very much, but at the same time it's also important to get out. So the idea is that there's a thing called the Step Up Challenge from St Christopher's. What I've done is I've put the details of this in the information that appears in the bottom of YouTube and Facebook, and you'll be able to go to those links and it'll tell you what it's about. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to teach some practices that will help to enhance your sessions when you get out and about, because being stuck at home all day, we need to be able to make the most of the time when we're out. And what normally happens then, of course, is that the mind realizes that we're alone and we're not interacting, and then so subsequently it gets started on whatever the drama of the day happens to be, and then that goes round and round, and you don't actually get a great deal of benefit from getting out and doing a bit of a walk. So last week what I did was I taught a session that covered my personal walking meditation practice. And as we're in what I call Loving Kindness Month, and I think at this rate it might end up as Loving Kindness Year, because we're getting to the end of the month. So what else is there to do but to nominate 2020 as the year of loving kindness? There's certainly a lot of it about, and it's despite all of the mayhem. If you turn on the TV, or no, not that I do, but other people in my lockdown buddies, they do. And similarly, if you go onto the internet, it's impossible not to get some news feed, and you don't get the loving kindness, but trust me, it's there. And so I've decided I'm going to extend this, and I'm going to keep teaching these practices along with the mindfulness practices, the meditation practices, the walking meditation practices, as a contribution to helping our collective welfares. So last week's session, there's a podcast and there's the video that I produced. So the video that I produced, you can watch it on YouTube, Periscope or Facebook. I don't seem to ever get round to editing the Periscope videos, so what that means is you get like 5 or 10 minutes waiting for the live stream to start, like happened today, and that hasn't been removed. But I usually get round to editing the YouTube and Facebook live streams, so they'll be a bit easier to watch. And what it does is it explains this walking meditation, and the walking meditation consists of 3 elements, and those 3 elements are taught in a podcast that I've published called A Walking Meditation. It's on the 2020 podcast channel. In due course, a lot of this will become available on the St Christopher's Step Up for St Christopher's Facebook page. There's a few things there that I have to do, and introduce myself and add. There's an intro video. I'm just waiting to speak to them to make sure that I can go ahead and do that. And what that means is you can go back and you can watch the video which explains to you how you can prepare yourself for going out to do the walking meditation. And then when you're doing the walking meditation, you turn on your podcast app and you can listen to that. And that's the same plan for this week, except it's going to be slightly different. What I'm going to do is I'm going to teach how mindful walking, and this is my opportunity to explain the difference between walking meditation and mindful walking, and explain how mindful walking and loving kindness go together. So here, let me do that. Okay, so walking meditation's ancient. They've been doing it for thousands of years, right? As I mentioned last week, there's a mountain somewhere in Southeast Asia or whatever where the Buddhist monks, they walk up round the mountain, and that's a meditation, and it is, you know, as you'll discover if you get the podcast and go for a walk. And so the walking meditation consists of three elements. One is you're focused on your feet. Another is you're focused on the breath. And the third one is you're aware of everything that's happening around you. You're plugged into your environment. And that is a thing called open awareness. Open awareness practice is basically practicing mindfulness. You're practicing the experience of being here now, and the experiencing the neutral present moment in an undistracted way, because your focus is on the experience of now rather than wherever the mind happens to want to take you. So that experience, and so if you want to try it out, actually when you're out and about, go back to the last episode, and that has got the information there on how to do it, so you can actually give it a whirl and see what happens. But I'll also teach a meditation that will help you out a bit there today. That experience, open awareness, is effectively you're practicing mindfulness. And the way that I describe mindfulness is it's the undistracted awareness of the experience of the present moment. When the experience of the present moment is a sensory experience of now. It's what you can see here: smell, touch, taste, all of the experiences that you're having, internal and external phenomena, as the Buddhists refer to it as. I'm not a Buddhist, but I have a tendency to follow a kind of meditative path that's pretty much aligned largely with Buddhism, although there's big chunks of Hindu meditation in there as well. I'll take information from any valid source to understand the nature of life, and that's science, that's the wisdom traditions, and of course it's my experience as well, and what I've learned and how I interpret my experience. So that whenever I sit down, that's what you're getting a kind of Venn diagram with these three areas in it: Robert's experience, woohoo, and the teachings of the great masters in the Eastern religions largely, but also Christianity, and any other wisdom tradition, and then science as well. Okay, so this open awareness experience is a desirable state to experience. And it's a desirable state to experience not necessarily because of what it is, because it's actually how we're designed to live. It's actually it's the absence of a lot of the things that make life uncomfortable. Rumination, where the mind goes over things in the past. Reconstruction, where it reconstructs scenarios in the past in some way or another. We find that ourselves doing all of that all the time. And rehearsing for the future. And that's all right, but the mind makes all of this obsessive. So what we want to be able to do is to go out, go for a walk, receive the information of the present moment, thoughts, emotions, sense perceptions, all like a stream of information coming into us. As I'm looking over there, I'm actually looking at monitoring the YouTube and Facebook channels. So there's all of these streams of information coming in. There's Periscope. There's all the people on Periscope. There's all the people on YouTube. There's all the people on Facebook. And there's me in front of me. And there's the streaming stuff down there. And it's all. And then there's the room. And there's what I can smell and taste and hear. And there's thoughts. And there's emotions. And there's physical sensations. There's too much. So human beings apply a thing called selective attention. We focus on one thing because there's too much information. Literally 99% of it plus gets thrown away. That's indisputable. There's so many studies that describe this in a lot of ways. So if you don't believe me, look it up. Selective attention. And unfortunately, if the mind selects, your attention for a melodrama stays there. So that's why this cyclical process that I taught last week is useful, because you're doing a practice, you're noticing how the mind responds, then you're moving on to another practice, and you find the walking meditation experience that works for you, which could be you focused on internally. You could be you focused on your feet. It could be you focused on something externally. And what you're looking for is whatever's most fulfilling. Simple as that. And that's the one you do. So then when we get to open awareness, what I have to do is teach an open awareness meditation. And then what I'll do is I'll produce a mindful walking podcast to go with today's session. You'll get the open awareness meditations in today's session, and you'll have the mindful walking podcast, which is effectively an open awareness experience while you're walking, and so you'll be able to do this and you'll be able to try that out, and they'll go together. So there'll be a series with 2 podcasts and 2 videos. The videos explain it, and they also provide you with a preparation for the experience of walking, and the walking meditation itself you'll be able to experience when you actually go out for a walk. So without further ado, we'll get on with the meditations. So what I'll do is I'll just pop up a background image and a little reminder that we are meditating. Like so. Okay. So if you want to get yourselves comfortable, when meditating, if you're sitting, means that you are sitting with your, ideally, this is all an ideal, your comfort's more important. I've got a student that always crosses her legs. She's been doing it for years. She crosses her legs, it makes her comfortable. I'm happy. So, one day, bless her, she'll put her feet on the floor and she'll like it. Until then, she crosses her legs, and I'm fine with that. So ideally, you sit with your feet flat on the floor, and ideally, probably, you close your eyes, but you can just look down past the tip of your nose, just to ensure that you're not distracted by anything that's going on around you. And bring your attention inwards from wherever the mind's taking it today. whatever the agenda of the mind happens to be. Don't worry about that. Instead, you're noticing the breath, you're noticing sitting, you're noticing being pushed into the ground, and then to bring you into this meditation, what I'll do is I'll sound the bell. So if you just allow yourself to be aware of the movement of the sound of the bell through time. And one more. Just noticing the movement of the sound of the bell through time. In the same way that you can be noticing the movement of the belly just at the point where the belly meets the chest. What we're doing there is we're centering ourselves, we're grounding ourselves, allowing ourselves to become aware of the force of gravity pushing us down into the ground. And the tiny movement just at the point where the belly meets the chest. And allow yourself to be aware of any tightness, any tension. Tension in the back and sides of the neck, the shoulders, the face. And you're noticing the breath moving the body. Chest and back expanding and contracting. The chest and the belly rising and falling. And then allow yourself to become aware of all of your internal phenomena, all of the elements of the present moment that we don't normally pay any attention to, that are all part of our present moment experience. So we're aware of whether we're cool or warm, whether we're tense or relaxed, whether we're tired or alert, whether we're comfortable or uncomfortable. And we're noticing whatever comfort and discomfort there is and which part of the body it's in. So where is the comfort? Where is the discomfort? And notice the breath rising and falling, the rhythm and cycle of the breath. And notice if you place your elbows by the side, you can, if you're sitting, move your head around until you find the place where it's most comfortable. So you're looking for that place of maximum comfort to balance your head. And notice what you're doing there. You're balancing. You're aware of your balance, which we're not normally aware of unless it goes wrong. And notice that you're aware of where your body is, where your arms are, where your hands are. For example, if you were to have your eyes closed and you put your hand up to the level of your eyes, you know where it is, despite the fact that you can't see it. So you're aware of where your feet are, you're aware of where your torso is, aware of where your hands and your head are. It's a sense called proprioception, which we're not normally aware of. And then if your eyes were closed, you would know where you are in the room. Say for example it went very, very dark, you'd know where the door was and how to get there. You'd know where the furniture is. It's a map of your immediate surroundings. So this is a sense as well. It's called vestibular awareness. But it's not just your immediate surroundings, it's everything around you. It's where you can go if you walk out of the door and turn left, or where you can go if you walk out of the door and turn right, and where your nearest town is and where your nearest petrol station is. You're operating in this three-dimensional map of vestibular awareness. So you have a geographical awareness of your environment. And then there's the sensory boundary of the body, which exists everywhere where you're able to touch anything. So if you're sitting, you're in contact with the seat. Your feet are in contact with the floor. You're in contact with your clothing. You're in contact with the air. So you're aware of your body and how all of these external things make your body feel. But as well as that, your body is also sensing the external environment. So the brain is separating out the signal from your hand that says, my finger hurts because I've cut it, and the sensations from your hand that allow you to pick up a cup or to realise that it's too hot so you can't drink it. All happening at the same time and we never notice. So that's what this is about. It's about reconnecting to our physiology, the sense of what it is to be human. And so there's this boundary of the body, which is a sensory boundary. But it's a fuzzy boundary because if the hand is on the thigh, there's the messages to the brain from how the hand feels. There's also the messages to the brain from how the fabric of your clothing feels. There's a message to the brain from how warm your hand is, and a message to the brain from how warm your thigh feels. Fuzzy boundary of being human that we're never aware of. So when you're out, you're walking, your feet are a fuzzy boundary, and the brain is mediating the information that it gets back from the feet about the nature of the terrain, whether it's slippery or hard, or whether there are sharp objects on it, or whether there are hazards, how smooth it is, and the coolness and warmth information. Are your feet warm? Are your feet cold? Is the surface hot or is the surface cold? Is it hot like a hot beach? Is it cold like a marble floor? And then there's the fuzzy boundary of your body in contact with the air. The sensation of the breeze moving the hair, cooling you down on the side closest to the breeze. And the clothing that you're wearing, and the sensations from the clothing and the sensations from the body. It's all there, and we never notice it. Never notice it. All these days and years and minutes and seconds drifting past. There it is. We're too busy doing other things. As John Lennon described life as something that happens while you're too busy doing other things. So what we're doing is we're reconnecting with it through open awareness meditation. And so you may wish to, if your eyes are closed, half open your eyelids, and you're looking down, and there's an instant stream of information about your surroundings. Colours and shapes and textures and patterns and reflections and light and dark, shadows. It's seemingly infinite. And there's what you can smell, and what you can taste. And then there's the ever-present sounds that we rarely notice. So depending on where you are, it might be an urban environment, so there may be cars, there may be pedestrians, there may be neighbours that you can hear, there may be movements in the house. There's the sound of my voice, and it's all streaming past. This stream of information is streaming past us all the time, through time. The sound, this is the sound of time passing. And then there are thoughts. They're often referred to as a stream of thoughts, arising and subsiding in the mind, to be replaced by other thoughts, like clouds scudding across the sky, to disappear over the horizon and be replaced by other clouds. And in the same way, in exactly the same way that we noticed all of the other phenomena, we can notice the thoughts. So the same way that you noticed the sensory information coming back from your hands and from your feet, and from your face and from your hair and from your forehead, notice the curiosity that there was, and the neutral calmness as you allowed yourself to become aware of this familiar yet unfamiliar experience. And that's how we witness the thoughts. Exactly the same way. Noticing them. And noticing them passing. Just like the sound moving through time. And then there's emotion, the sensations in the body that tell us information about the mind, or what the Hindus refer to as the body-mind. In fact, great modern neuroscientists get very close to using that exact definition, because that's what it is. It's the combination of the body and the mind, and it's communicating with us based on its genetic programming and its habits and its experience, and it's communicating through emotion, sending us messages, same as with the thoughts. The thoughts and the emotions are there for us to acknowledge, to notice them, not avoid them, not instantly react to them, not find a spiral of thought that gives us some sort of message about them, but to acknowledge that they're there and notice that they're there. And all of this experience can be appreciated. Once you acknowledge it, once you notice it, you can appreciate it. You can get familiar and comfortable with it, and it all becomes experience that you're happy to spend time with. And so when you're going for your walk and you're noticing all of this stream of sensory information, and you're moving your attention from one element to another, you're learning to become familiar and comfortable with it and appreciate it. And appreciation, that brings us gratitude. Because gratitude is the recognition that we're uniquely privileged to experience something that we appreciate. And then the experience that we observe and our awareness of ourselves, that can bring compassion. So if we're walking along and we notice a fellow being, human being or a creature of any sort, that's suffering or struggling, there's the compassion. There's the desire to reduce their suffering. And if you notice your own suffering, then there's the desire to reduce your suffering. So there we have appreciation, gratitude, compassion, and love is an acceptance of all of this, and a desire to help others to experience it as well. When you find something that you appreciate and you're grateful for it, it's an act of compassion and love to bring it to somebody else. And that's what you do. That's what we do. And that's how we find fulfillment and happiness. You can do that by going for a walk and noticing all of the experience of the present moment. Okay, so again, whenever you're ready, in your very, very own time, gently return your attention to your surroundings. Okay, so that's an insight into the mindful walking, the experience of the present moment, allowing yourself to become aware of all the internal and external phenomena while you're doing something that you do every day. And notice what could happen. Think about what could happen. You could become used to this by the end of lockdown. By the end of lockdown, if you do your mindful walking on a regular basis, every time you step outside that door from then on, you're in a different world. Okay? It's a better place, which is why we do this. It's why we do all of this meditation malarkey. Is to retrain the brain to appreciate and be grateful for and experience and want to share the undistracted awareness of the experience of the present moment, which is actually what life is all about, and there's fulfillment in it. So you don't need any of the things that you haven't got because you're locked down. But it's a practice, and to get there, one step at a time, in this case literally. Okay, so I hope you all found that useful. What normally happens now with the channels is that I'll go in and edit the videos in the next half hour or so, or hour, and that they'll probably then go into processing, so you might not be able to listen to them. I will broadcast the podcast and the next podcast when I send it out. But if you haven't tried the first podcast, the Walking Meditation podcast, I suggest you definitely try that one first, and then try out the practice that I'm explaining today, which will be mindful walking. Also, take a look down in the blurb in YouTube and Facebook, and I don't know if it appears in Periscope. It's what was known as the stream information, and then that's got a multitude of links in it. It's got links to last week's video, last week's podcast. The videos links are on Facebook and YouTube, and it's got links to 2020 meditation. It's got links to St. Christopher's Step Up program, which I encourage you to subscribe to, and it's also got links to the St. Christopher's Facebook group that they've set up for the Step Up program. And that's it for today. So, bless you all, and I am glad that I actually did this, and I'm sorry to anybody who turned up last night and I hadn't even cancelled. I've been teaching since 2013. I think I've taught about 2,000 sessions online and offline, and that's actually the first time that's happened. So I think that's reasonable. I'll let myself off, and I'm awfully sorry that I didn't cancel, because some of you were concerned about my welfare, which is very, very heartwarming. It definitely won't happen again. Okay, so thanks everyone, good night, and have a fantastic rest of the week. There's another couple of sessions. One is Wednesday, the Mindfulness Based Resilience course group. I'll post the information in the group and email it to the group members. And then on Thursday is the 2020 meditation course group. Similarly, so I shall update you with that information in the group itself. So, thanks very much indeed. Feel free to comment, like, subscribe, and all of that kind of stuff. And I will catch up with you all soon. Thanks.